Hey guys, what's up? It's Disc Store Nate and Steve back with another episode of This Disc is Great with Steve and Nate. This week we have the Axiom Tantrum, which is a sweet new distance driver that we'll talk about in just a little bit. But thanks guys for joining us. If you guys are new to the show, what we do is we review brand new discs that come out. We take them out to our local course here at Aspen, throw them on a couple of wide open holes, and just rip on them, let you guys see what they fly like. So we want to make sure we want to know what we're talking about. We want to make sure you guys can see what you're getting before you throw. We'll talk about this in a little bit. But, Steve, what's our ultimate sale going on right now, just so we get those people a little bit of content?
Where we still doing the BOGO?
Yeah, the BOGO.
Yeah, so we've got, you buy one disc, you're going to get another one for free. It's super awesome. Basically, the best deal you can get besides...
And that's on the Dragon Ultra Stars. So Dragon Ultra Stars, buy one, get one. Take advantage of that. And then these are going to go on sale really soon. The listings are created. We just got to get the actual discs in there. What all do we have with that stand?
So we've got D-Line P2s, C-Line FD3s, and MD4s. So they've got this sweet Warrior Spirit stamp. Comes in a couple different foil colors. The discs themselves are different colors. Super awesome. These will be up soon.
So I was going to talk about this, but Patrick Ryan asks if we are going to GBO. So I'm going to GBO, Reeser's going to GBO, 3 other guys here are going to GBO, and Steve's lame and not going to GBO.
I'm going to work.
So Steve will be here manning the store, but we will be down at GBO doing a lot of fun stuff. Speaking of GBO, Reeser's going to comment this in the video. We shot a preview round for the Cottonwood Falls course, which I believe all of the age-protected pros, women, and intermediate players are playing. So if you're in one of those divisions, you're going to go check that video out so that you can get a preview of that course. I had a lot of fun doing it. It's me, Eric McCabe, and Denise Cameron playing, and then me and Robert McCall did commentary. We had a lot of fun doing that video. I think it's pretty good.
I watched it. I thought it was awesome.
A lot of fun. I have a couple pretty nice highlights along with some pretty terrible lowlights.
Yes.
But it's a fun watch. Also, we will be at GBO. We are running a Flex Start Superclass event on Thursday. So anytime on Thursday, before or after your round, or if your round goes really bad, leave and come play this instead. We're doing a Superclass event at New Life Church, so if you're in Emporia, playing GBO, not playing GBO, just anywhere around, come see us, play a 9-hole Superclass event. You'll get a free aviator with your entry. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be shooting a lot of cool videos down there, including, since I'm going to be down there Wednesday, we are going to do an episode of This is Great, but it won't be with Steve and Nate. It'll be with a surprise member of DD Team and Nate. So look forward to that next week. We'll be reviewing the Maverick. But all right, let's go ahead and get into the review. So let's do that again. This is episode 47 of This is Great with Steve and Nate with the Axiom Tantrum. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the Tantrum, Steve?
All right, we've got a speed of 13, a glide of 6, a high-speed turn of -1, and a fade of 2. This utility driver, controlled drives, controlled turnovers, tunnel shots, and tailwind drives. This was what Axiom says about the Tantrum. So they debuts the new 24.5 millimeter class of Axiom distance drivers starting in Neutron plastic. Its straight to stable flights are designed for maximum distance drives. The Tantrum has enough stability to shape long S-turning lines that finish with the fade while remaining neutral enough to activate with modern arm speed. The Tantrum is best described as a longer defy with huge glide and distance potential. Don't throw a fit this spring, throw a Tantrum. The new max distance driver from Axiom.
Throw a Tantrum.
Yes.
I thought this name was really dumb until I realized the throwing pun in there, and so that makes it a lot funnier. But yeah, so Steve, just off the top of your head, what do those numbers scream to you? About whether or not we agree with them, but on the description, on the numbers, that sounds like a Champion Strike or a Sheriff from DD. It's going to be somewhat close to a Nuke, a little less slow speed stable. But yeah, we'll see how we feel about that. We had a ton of good videos this week, so we want to go ahead and get into those and just start showing you. But I will say, like, I would probably give this a 14 speed just because this rim is huge. Like, the first time I put that in my hand, I was like, I can barely hold on to this thing. It's bigger than my strikes.
I've been doing kind of a grip where I really use the right where my fingers connect to my palm, and even I've been like, oh, I'm trying to get around it. So it's been funny trying to work with the grip, but after a while, a couple of throws, you're like, all right, let's go here, and then start popping them off.
Everybody's commenting, so I forgot. We do give a bunch of stuff away. We're giving away that Warrior P2. We're giving away these Tantrums. The white Tantrum is going to go to whoever guesses the closest backhand distance. You got to guess Steve or Nate and a distance. And Reese's been making you not go over, so get it right. And then we'll give away the other 2 discs to just random comments and people who make us laugh. All right, let's watch some throw videos.
I feel like you're going to start.
Well, that's just your lunch.
That's
talking.
your opinion, man. Oh, sweet. All right, so we've got big hyzer. Never really tried to come out of it, so 330. I put it a little too high, I'd say, but 330 off a 13-speed disc.
On that big of a hyzer, yeah, it's kind of what it's going to do.
It's kind of normal, but we will try again.
Also, shout out to UDisc. They sponsor the show by giving us free pro accounts so that we can measure all these distances for you. So make sure you check out UDisc if you haven't already. That's also part of your disc member subscription.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
They just updated it too, so it's a lot easier to use than
there's a lot of cool features.
Year that we've been using it.
All right, let's see. I think this one's pretty hyzer too. Okay, so this day, the throws that are going this way, we had like a 15 to 20 mile an hour headwind that made some things do some funny things. But this either wasn't that windy of a throw or this held it really well. So I threw that on a big wide hyzer and it didn't flip up a lot. It just kind of glided straight. Even on my strikes, if I'm throwing that hyzer, it's probably going to hold that line and go about 364. On pure hyzer, I'm getting 375 kind of max on that. So it's pretty similar to a strike flight. Yeah, it's kind of what I want to see out of that. Let's check out some more here. So yeah, that's why we ended up with so many videos, because this day we've got a little bit of left to right crosswind, but those houses are blocking it. So we're going to have a little better throws going this direction. So that's still a little hyzer for you.
That feels flat to me, considering I'm usually here. So that's basically my flat shot. Didn't really pop up because I've got that left to right wind working against me. But 350 foot on a relatively straight to nice fade line, I'm happy with that.
So that's what we'll say. Like, we'll see some better shots here in a little bit where they flip up and glide a little more for us. But this is really fast.
Yes.
You really have to get on it. It doesn't go very far if you don't really rip it, but you'll see here in a second, when we get some good rips on it, they go. So this is that same kind of hyzer, but into that headwind. So you're definitely seeing that little bit more flip up for it.
So almost 350. That is what I need to get out of a disc. But yeah, this rim is huge, and it is an extremely fast disc. At least it's going 350, so I can't say too much.
And really, that headwind is killing probably 20 to 30 feet of distance off of that. So if there was no wind, you're probably 20 or 30 feet farther for sure, because it was ripping. There's a nice flat shot.
So like I said, it is fast, so I'm able to get it out even past 350, but once it starts to slow down, you're really going to see a fade out, especially with the wind pushing on you. But I'm excited to see Nate's, because when he rips on him, the wind is opposite.
Helping me.
The wind
is hurting you, it's helping me.
Yeah.
But this is kind of the difference you can see. Those are really, really similar shots into a headwind versus into a little bit of a crosswind that was much lighter. So that's the wind effect that you can see there. So that's just a touch hyzer. Kind of flipped to flat and stayed flat for a while and then started fading out. It's got a really wide rim, so it's getting that big flare skip at the end when it's coming in with that angle. And 391, I mean, my strikes when I'm throwing them, they're hitting between 385 and 420. So this is a really similar power shot to that. That's where I'm putting my that's where I'm putting my lighter Shrike and getting that big S turn out of it. This is about the same flight I'd get out of my pink Shrike. That's my max weight, more stable one. So pretty similar. Those numbers are fairly close to what those champion Shrikes are. Let's see some good ones. There are some really good throws near that I'm excited to watch. Okay, so this is that really windy day. So that's a lot more hyzer, but knowing the wind was going to mess with it, let it pop up. It popped up the flat, turned a little bit, but still had the fade to come out of that. So there's a couple shots that we cut out where things turned and burned, but not a lot of them.
No.
We were able to throw this into the wind. We had to put it on hyzer. Like I cut the Annie shots out that we threw into the wind because they just really held it, and weren't very good representations of what the disc does. But this has enough fade to fight out of the wind if you're not, probably guys, like Matt Dollar or some of the other top level pros for Axiom are probably flipping this over. But for guys like us, it's going to have a decent amount of fade at the end and do okay into the wind. Same windy day. Steve gets that flat. Could you tell which one that was? Was that the blue or the white one? That makes a little more sense. And again, the wind's killing your distance. This is it's pushing against you more than it is me.
Yeah.
And so that's probably a 375 foot throw at least, but the wind's killing you on that.
I really was trying to just keep it from completely turning over, but because every other shot I was like, I don't know what the disc is going to do. I was getting turn out of it. Like a Shrike, I'm expecting some turn, which this is showing. So I would say it's been flying very similar to the Shrike, which I can't argue with. I bag multiple Shrikes.
I'd say it's definitely on the stable end of Shrike. It doesn't fly like your Star Strike. So it's going to be more like a Mayhem.
Correct.
But this shot, I had a lot of fun with. So this was just a full rip. Once I finally started realizing you had to really get on these guys and really popping on them, this is the same. I throw my Shrike on this hole, and I want this result. This is what I'm going for. My good Shrike shots land right there. Actually, I almost hit those guys who were playing the hole.
I yelled for it.
Yeah,
I was like, "Hey guys!"
Steve's like, "You're not gonna hit him." And I was like, "I'm gonna try." But again, that's where I want to throw most of my power Shrike shots. I'm throwing just that slight hyzer, let it pop up, glide over turn, and then solidly fade out. Exactly what I'm looking for. And this is the white one. We did notice that the white one we were throwing, they're both, was that 173? 174. So that's 174. This is 173. But the blue one was noticeably more understable. So it's a little closer to what I'd say a true Shrike flies like, and that's a little bit more overstable. Could just be that white happened to be a more overstable plastic. Who knows? Lots of different things factor into that. But like I said, when you get on these guys, they go. 418 is one of the farthest shots we've ever shown on the show. 433 is the farthest we have ever shown. But 418 is getting up there. All right, we got some more. Let's take a look at those. Let's see what we got here. So this is putting it on that little Annie line, kind of seeing what it does. Again, this is the more stable one. So it's holding that for a long, long ways, but it is fading out of it at the end, which lets you shape some shots, throw some really cool lines, get a lot of distance. Again, 416, that's again right up there with the farthest throws we've ever had in the show. So these things go.
I really like this specific shot that you did, Nate, because that is a ceiling. I've had a couple shots where I wanted to throw it high, and I just kept getting scared of that ceiling and ended up just having bad shots. But Nate was actually able to really just... It was either he was going to catch him or it was going to be a really nice throw. And luckily, we got a couple of them to not catch the trees, get that huge throw. Super sweet shot.
Yeah. Those are fun. Like I said, the blue one probably... I don't know if we're going to show the blue one or not. We'll see. On a similar line. It kind of held it all the way over. That one's just a little bit more stable. There's Steve throwing an actual nice halfway Annie shot. Yeah. This is the blue one. That is a little flippier.
Yeah. Come on, break forward. Oh, so close. That was about what I thought I could do with this disc. Mm-hmm. Having to kind of, I definitely was putting Annie on that shot. That felt like an Annie follow through, but I really felt like I got on it. So to get almost 400 on a disc that I throw the Star Strike because it is a little more flippy, but I would definitely throw this into a headwind before I would throw my Star Strike into a headwind. So I can see an absolute purpose for this disc.
Okay, yeah. See, this is the shot. I threw those two shots back to back. This is the little less overstable one, and it kind of just held that line the whole way. So there's variation in all discs between runs, and even between discs in the same run. Colors sometimes are more stable for whatever physics, chemistry reasons. So if you really rip on this on that anti-line, it will hold it and then kind of finish out flat, which is nice. So if you finish out on an edge, you're going to roll. This finished out flat and sat down. So this is a really workable disc for a lot of power arms. They can do a lot of things with it.
Oh yeah.
It's a great option. You can go ahead and go on to the next one. I will say that. What was I going to say? Never mind. So this again is into that headwind. You got it flat and got it flipped.
I'm going to say that was the blue one then.
I think it's actually the white one.
Really?
And I think we might have screwed up on the markings. I think that's farther than 329, or maybe it's just making you feel that way.
Thanks.
But again, that's into a headwind flat, and it's not turning and burning. That's a solid disc.
It's giving you an option to have a safe shot where it's not stupid overstable and it's not crazy flippy. So you're bound to make it. You're bound to stay within a fairway or kind of idea like that. Yeah.
Well, here's what I was going to say earlier. On a lot of discs like this, we're only throwing them once or twice, so we don't have the time to fully learn it. And so, like, we can for a lot of discs that we show, we can probably get 20, 30 more feet out of it just once we get more used to it. And so, like, that's where you see some of ours, like our max throws are probably farther, but when we're learning it, if we're cranking these out over 400, that means the disc is fitting for us really well.
Yeah.
All right, that was the sidearm. We're getting into the flicks now. So I was worried about flipping this into that head, because I tend to roll my wrist a little bit sometimes on my sidearm, or I get a lot more torque off my sidearm. So I threw that hyzer expecting the wind to flip it up. And it never really did. It kind of held that hyzer the whole way. 279 on a hyzer for me is pretty solid, especially into a headwind. This actually has a pretty comfortable sidearm grip, and you can get some pop on it without worrying about it too much. Let's take a look at some more of those. This was, again, no headwind this time, but again, I threw it flat, expected some flip up, didn't get a lot of it. So it's fast, so it's handling that sidearm torque really well. But again, anything that's getting real close to 300, I'm pretty solid with on a flick, especially if I'm not flexing it. So it's 300 on a straight flick shot. It's good.
I actually finally got to use the wind that Nate used. So
Yeah.
I was able to throw decent forehands. It felt really cool, especially that I'm not flipping it over. Like Nate, if we could show you guys the blooper reel, I do a lot of this when I'm throwing flicks. So to finally I'm like, you just throw it. And so throw a pretty decent hyzer, have it pop up, go anywhere above 250 is a really good shot for me. Breaking 3, I was like, yes, all right.
And this is into that headwind, so you see it get flipped a little more. But even still, it didn't turn and burn, which is kind of what we're looking for.
Yeah. Still over 250. I'm doing something right. The disc is able to take that early torque and fight out of it at the end, just being such a fast disc. Actually, I kind of like this for a flick more than my Destroyer to a certain extent, knowing it's
a little
able
more
to
controllable.
It's taking it, but I'm not like having to throw it here to before it finally fights out. I'm actually thinking about this for the flick.
And there Steve got a real good pop on it. Got it over, got the turn. And if that wasn't so high, if you got that lower, that's probably 320, 330.
Which would be among the top throws I've ever had with the flick. So this was a good day for Steve in the flick game. This disc was working really nice. I was trusting it.
Yeah,
I was really trusting the disc.
Pretty solid on sidearm.
What you got, Nate? Oh, roller time.
So I didn't get that one quite all the way over on edge like I wanted, but this is a pretty fast disc for a roller, so you've got to really get some pop on it. I didn't quite get enough there. but it does roll really well. It's got a nice sharp edge. If you get it all the way up, it'll stand up and roll for a really long time. We wanted to get some roll. You guys have been asking for rollers. We wanted to get some rollers in before that grass gets too tall to do rollers. But yeah, that was a decent one. I think I've got one more that's a little better, but it's into that headwind, so it kind of rolls funny. So this one I get the edge better and it rolls straighter, but you see the wind pushing it right.
It's like a wall.
Yeah. So it probably would have been a lot farther if it hadn't have been bouncing so far right. But it was these roll fairly well if you get them on edge. It's a little more overstable than my strike, so it had a little bit more control and cut to it. Pretty solid roller disc if you've got the arm speed to get on it enough. And I think we've got one more roller.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. Like I said, with the wrist roll, that was that, but it went straight, so that was really cool.
You put it down on a really nice roller, whether you meant to or not. You laid it down really well. It went nice and straight, rolled really well, so we figured we had to keep it.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than be good, folks, and so that was one of those instances. So numbers again are 13, 6, -1, 2.
So how do we feel about those? Again, those are just a third party's guesstimate. What do we feel about those numbers? How do you think how close they are?
I don't know. Like, I want to say I think it's not as understable, but but then it almost have to be like you take down a glide, but then it still stayed in the air. So I'm gonna have to agree.
I would give it the 14 speed because I feel like it is. I think 24.5 is the max width of a disc. I'd have to like measure a King or something like that, or a Colossus, but I think it's going to be pretty close to that. And I think you really do have to get on it. Like my initial reaction would be to give it that like a -1.3 or something like that. But it's more some of that speed. Like you really got to pop it to get it to go because it's not turning so much. It's not. I wouldn't give it like a -2 or anything. Yeah, it's not flipping a ton. But it does have some solid fade out at the end. It's like this one I'd say is really darn close to my max weight champion strikes. And that one's probably a little more overstable, but again, we're just looking at 2 discs compared to all of them. So I'd say those numbers are fairly close with a little bit of variation there. Really solid. I like this disc a lot. I feel like if I had to go all MVP Axiom, like I feel like this would be filling that strike spot for me, that max distance kind of flippy driver. Would really easily fit that spot. It kind of overlap. Like I'm in a groove with my strike, so I have no reason to take those out for this. But it's something I could easily do. We're talking about doing that eventually. Maybe do like one of our blog posts where like I do like what would I be throwing if I threw all one branch to give you guys an idea. Because it's not that these other companies don't have good discs or I couldn't throw them well. It's just there's no reason to carry 57 different molds in my bag. All right, let's get to some of your questions.
The questions or giveaway? Questions?
Both. Let's do the giveaway first, if you have the winner of distance.
We actually had 2 people guess the same number, so we'll have both of them win.
Okay, we'll give both tantrums away.
Wow, that's a first on
the
this.
The longest drive was 4:18.
Yep.
Nate. And we had 2 people guess Nate 4:10. That was Chris Whitlock and Sean Grew. Both guessed 4:10. So
Perfect. Sean had a really funny comment to start the video off, so it's good. I'm glad he's winning. All right, so give us some questions, and let's say the 4th question you ask us wins the P2.
Okay. Let's see. On a windy, this is from Shane Russell. On a windy headwind, is it better to put something beefy, kind of out flat, or on a hyzer?
That's going to depend on how windy and how beefy.
And where you need the shot to go.
Yeah. So if it's like 10 to 15 miles an hour, I'm probably throwing my Defender flat. And letting it turn a little bit and come back. If it's like 25, 30 miles an hour, or gusting really bad, I'm probably throwing my Defender on a hyzer just to be extra safe. And again, that's where is out of bounds on the hole. Like, what are the things that I need to miss on the hole? Kind of vary that. But if it's windy but not too windy, I'll throw them flat. If it's super windy, I'll throw them hyzer just to be a little safer.
It really helps to have a wind gauge. So if you guys can have long hair, you can tell how much wind is really coming at you.
Or just play with someone with long hair and you don't have to worry about it.
Sean Drew wants to know, how is the rim compared to the teleport on the Tantrum?
Well, Reeser, can you look up the teleport for us real quick? It'll tell you exactly how wide it is. I think the teleport is 23 centimeters. And this is 24.5, if I'm not mistaken, but I might be mistaken. It feels bigger than the teleport, I'll tell you that. This is one of the, like, I picked it up and I was just like, whoa, I can barely hold this thing. So if you got little hands, probably not the disc for you.
Teleport says 2.5 centimeters rim width.
Google calculate. We gotta switch it.
Should be like 22.5 would make sense. But yeah, so it's close, but I think this is just a touch faster. While you're looking that up, Daniel Moore asks, what's a good disc to learn a roller with?
If you want to learn a roller, throwing an air shot into a roller, then you're probably going to go Sidewinder or Roadrunner.
Yep.
Would the signal work?
Signal would be easy.
Okay. So basically
like
you go
a Witness.
Something fairway-ish. You want to have a bit of a rim.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to slow down versus that rim. And then you want it to be understable to a certain extent. So the
It'll
more
be easier for you to throw
understable, the faster it'll get down to the ground, and you'll just kind of have to learn what angle do you throw it at, and then what angle does it hit at. And you really want to find a 45-degree angle for the maximum distance usually. So it's do I have to throw it at that same exact angle? Like, I think that's what you did with these tantrums.
Yeah, they're about here.
You basically threw it on that angle and hit the ground at the angle.
Yeah.
So there's lots of discs. You got to figure out what your arm speed is, and then go from there to say.
If you're learning roller, something flippy is probably best. But those guys who are throwing those monster ridiculous, like Simon rolls a PD2, which is one of the most crazy overstable discs there is. Because if you can get something that stable on edge, it holds that edge longer and doesn't flip out as easy. But there's only like 10 people in the world who can throw as hard as Simon throws. So I wouldn't recommend PD2s for most people's backhand rollers. All right, did you find actual centimeters on the Tantrum teleport?
It says the same, 24.5.
Okay, so they are the same. Okay. So yeah, they're the same rim width then, officially.
You want a final winner question?
Yeah, sure. We'll answer a couple more questions, but this person wins.
This person wins, I've got it queued up, is Josh Wagner wants to know, what is your first time playing, and what disc was your first disc using while playing? That's a tough question.
The first time I played disc golf was in 2010, and the guy I was playing with gave me a DX Beast to play with.
First time playing was 3 years ago. My buddy bought me a DX Viking because that was the high school mascot for that was my high school mascot, was the Viking. Actually worked out to be a pretty good disc for me. It was a little fast, but eventually, if you figure out how to work it, and being DX, eventually they die. But yes.
Yeah, the first disc I ever bought was a DX Wraith, and it's hanging on the wall for sentiment, but
cool.
It doesn't fly like a Wraith anymore.
Josh win?
He wins the Warrior Spirit P2. Again, these are going to go up on the site within the next couple days. They're pretty sweet. You're going to want to check them out. There's only 170, I think, 160 total with that. No, 170. I was right the first time. 170 total with that stamp. P2s, MD4s, and FD3s. All right. Anything we want to get to? Naomi Downs asked what's in my bag for GBO. If you go watch the In the Bag episode from a couple weeks ago, the only thing that's changed is I've added Mavericks. I took out the Rivals and added Mavericks. We'll probably do a real In the Bag video sometime down there maybe, or soon, but go back and watch that video. It'll be really close. I'll go back and answer the rest of these. I think we answered most stuff. But guys, thanks for watching. Again, this was episode 47 of This Disc is Great with Steve and Nate. Tune in next week for a lot of cool GBO videos, including This Disc is Great with mystery DD guest.
And Nate.
Who are the winners again?
So winners again were Josh Wagner won the P2. And then you've got the winners.
Sean Grew
Yeah.
won in Tantrum, and Chris Whitlock won the Tantrum.
Boom. All right, again, this was the MVP, the Axiom Tantrum. Super great max distance bomber disc. I recommend you check them out. Really sweet disc. They fly real far. And we'll be back next week with episode 48 with the Dynamic Disc Maverick. I like that disc a lot.